And we are live. Welcome to Front Row Seat, where it's all about you because you're doing it. Today, I would like to welcome Sonia Testerman. She has her own successful YouTube channel called The Tree of Knowledge. And she has tons of information on the channel and many, many different topics. As I was looking through her videos, I was astounded at what I found there. Sonia has come to the understanding that we live in a simulation completely through intuition. And another thing I was completely astounded by is she understands that we get data streams, and we get data streams from different places and from different frequencies that we all interact with. And then there was another one of her videos where she was explaining how the victim mentality traps you into a place where you're stuck and you can't move ahead. And there was just so much information in her channel. I was just astounded at how she got to all of it through just her intuition. And I had to work for 30 years and then go spend a bunch of time with Tom Campbell to teach me what was happening there, because I'd kind of shut mine down, because in my culture, we're not having any of that. So in one video, you described perfectly point consciousness, and then how that is the link to go to other places, that once you get to that rested place, you called it like a slingshot. And you said, well, that's how, and I learned how to get to point conscious too, but through the route of Tom Campbell, who explained it to me. And what you know about that is, in the Vedic traditions, their goal is to get to point consciousness, where it feels it feels relaxing and it's a real good vibe. But that's the springboard. That's not where you want to stop. So the goal is there. They get to the springboard, then they don't go anywhere else because they're stopped. But you figured out that it was the springboard. The point consciousness is where it's the connection where you get to everything else. And so you've explored everything else. And you've been on this special journey. Welcome, Sonia. Welcome to my channel.
Oh, thank you, Cheryl. I'm very happy to be here.
So glad to have you. I've been watching your videos and I was just astounded. I was like, she just comes to the information. She gets the information and she's doing it all intuitively. And here is, Tom Campbell. He spent 20 years working on the intuitive mind and how it works. Because in our culture, as you know, there's a lot more left brains than there are right brains. The right brain intuitive just gets the data. The left brain do not. They have to come by it step by step. A plus B equals C, and then this. They don't just get the information like the intuitive does, and it's a deeper knowing. And you had talked about when you were younger that you just knew things, and so you just knew things. And I was wondering if you got any, how were you, received as a child who was this super intuitive person, just getting data that they had no access to?
That's a story, but I'll just kind of nutshell it. My father said I was from outer space. My mother said, stop exaggerating. My one brother, Chris, says I make up everything. My other siblings are kind of like, the only one that actually somewhat believed me was my sister. And the rest of them all think that I have an extremely imaginative imagination. And the entire time I'm saying I'm not imagining anything. I see this. I know this. I know it. And they're like, no, prove it. And it's like, well, one day everything I say will come out because I see it coming out, but it's down the road. And then one day you'll all owe me an apology.
Well, you handled it a lot better than I did. I'm in the very intuitive space as a child too, and I just knew things too. And it was like the left brains, they could be very disrespectful, because in the left brain intellect world, that's where that arrogance can come in there. It's like, no, I know, and I'm right. But then all of a sudden I'm doing something because I already knew about it and I already knew how to do it. And they're going, how did you just do that? So, and it was hard on the self-esteem. I'm from the South, and they were hard on the intuitives. They were like, no, we're not having any of you. But in the long run, it was a challenge for me. And it was a challenge to come into my own and learn to not care what anybody else thinks, because that's not about me. That's about them and their boogaloos. So I am just doing me now, and I'm enjoying my life. I've been having so much fun. I'm meeting a lot of intuitives like me, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm not an alien. There's a whole bunch of us out here. And your podcasts were just so upbeat and happy, and that's what I like, to do with my channel, and make it a light to where people can come and learn things and have a positive experience, and make it into a good thing, because intuitives, we've been just beat down for so long.
Oh yeah. Oh
We're
yeah.
coming up though.
I've had a lot of people tell me, wow, you can give me the worst information and news and be happy about it, and I'll actually feel good about receiving it. Oh my gosh.
And I noticed that the intuitives, we have these abilities, and it's almost like we get into these situations with people. And I don't know if you've heard of a bodhisattva.
No.
A bodhisattva is almost like the like a rascal saint, like things happen, but it ends up being for the good of the person that's happening in that situation. But you're just there. You have no clue that it's a lesson that's been set up for them. Next thing you know, you see them kind of face plant, and you go, oh dear, did I do that? And it's like, well, no, that's their stuff, and they're face planting because of them. And so it's almost like we're a catalyst to help people kind of wake up and see that nobody or nothing is doing anything to them, that they're writing the programs and doing it to themselves. Because these challenges that we have here, it evolves our consciousness. And that's what the kind of the name of the game here is, to me, from my perspective, is the evolution of consciousness. It's all in the mythologies around the world that, we go from here, and then consciousness takes a trip. Joseph Campbell talked about it in his books, in The Hero with 1,000 Faces. And all of the mythology is about the evolution of our consciousness, and that we are consciousness here. We're not these physical avatars. So that's what we're moving into, is the understanding that we are in a simulation as avatars, that we are not these avatars, that we're consciousness.
But I will tell you one thing. The reason we do have the avatars is because with every decision we make, we will reap the consequences. And so we have the avatar to reap the consequences. If you're going to go someplace to increase your being, you're going to have a system where if you do something, it's going to cause something else, and you can physically feel it.
Yes. It's almost like we need the pain to figure out who we are, because it really is the journey back to the self. Right?
Yeah.
The self.
It's like a child reaching for a stove, and they put their hand on the hot stove. That's the only thing I can equate it to.
Yep. That we need these challenges, because without the challenges, we could not continue to evolve and be, like, it's almost like we're created, we're creators creating. Like we are creating the reality that you see around yourself. And so if you're doing it, and then that means that if you're upset and you're in this bad space, that's your challenge that you put there, so that you can evolve and let go of fear, so you can evolve to the real thing that you are, which is kind of a love vibe, and it's universal, because love is very coherent. It's very crystal clear. It builds communities. It brings life into the world, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to get rid of that fear. And to be able to get rid of that fear, we have to have a physical place that hurts you when you do something, so that you can see and have feedback on what you're doing. And that's why I started believing what Tom Campbell said about this being a simulation, because I noticed that what the things were in my reality were my fears, and it was about me. And I was like, wait a minute, I recognize that. How did that get there? Did I put that there? And it's like, okay, that wouldn't mean anything to anybody else but me, So I started kind of seeing through the things, like, wait a minute, this reality is not what it appears to be.
Yeah. Boy, do I have a lot of videos on that.
Yeah. And so it's almost like the intuitives, we're kind of standing on the edge of creation, and we're here and we're going, come on, y'all. This is this is what we're doing here. We have a job here. And in Tom's theory, that's the job. You've got to get in there and work with yourself and get rid of those fears. Because what's that saying? Your worst fear comes right to you. So
yes, it does. The thing
it's coming to you.
Run to.
Say that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Say that again.
I said the thing that you fear the worst is what you're going to run to.
Because you're creating it. And so it's just like a magnetism. It's just coming right to you. And I started realizing, okay, that's my worst fear. It just came true. And you're doing it, Cheryl. You're doing this. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm doing this. Okay, I need to get rid of this fear. And so that's what I've been doing the last 6 years of my life, is I have been working really hard and looking at my feedback from my reality. And okay, that's where I have some fears at. I need to work around that and get those out of there and process that emotion out of my being. And so now I can get all the way to the being level, to where love lives, and it's not near as hard. Now when I see one come up, I know exactly what that is, because I know which fear.
I will tell you that everywhere you have fear, put love in its place. The fear will never come back, because you cannot hold love and fear at the same time.
No, because it's a polarity.
One or the other.
Pick. You get to pick, and love sure does feel a whole lot better than fear.
Oh yeah, I pick that every time.
Right, because we are the choosers that choose. We are choosing how we perceive things. Yes, terrible things happen to people, but it's the perception of that terrible thing is what causes the trauma. Because if you are perceiving it in a way that the world is just doing things to you, then you're dragging that trauma with you down the road, and you're hanging on to it, when you can look at that, what happened, in a different way. Like one thing, well, you were young and you were not in control, because you were a vulnerable child, and you were in the control and care of your caregivers. And it's not about hating your caregivers. It's about forgiving them and accepting that that's just the way they were, and they did what they did, and the way it affected you. Then you can go in and go, oh, wait a minute, I can dispel that belief. I wasn't the problem. I was just a little kid trying to figure out what's happening here. Then you can let go of that trauma and be released from it. And then you get to feel better. And then you no longer have to deal with the things in the past that's got hooks in you, because of the way you're perceiving it, that the whole world is out to get you and is doing things to you, when that's not the case at all. It's just in how we perceive things. And when you can shift your perception, you can shift your entire reality. And that's why I believe what Tom was saying, because as I started getting rid of those fears, my reality started to be a completely different reality than the reality I had before I did that work. It was so different that I didn't even recognize my life anymore, because I was getting rid of all the fear, and it was like, well, there's not scarcity here. I have everything I need. You wouldn't believe what just that thinking alone did, because now I do have everything I need, and I'm doing exactly what I want to do. So I know that my thoughts are creating my reality, and vice versa, and it's going back and forth, and I'm doing it.
Cool. And that's how everyone should be.
Yes, and we just keep, teaching and putting the right information out there. You can't read books to get to here. You've got to go in and work with yourself, because that's where everything is at.
Everything's an inward journey from this point on. At one point, we go through cycles with humanity. They do this first, and they get to this point, and they get to this point, and now we're at the point where everything has to be an inward journey. You have to wake yourself up. We can only give you so much information, but you have to act upon it. Every person that watches my channel and all they do is watch my channel and do nothing with their reality, you're lost. You've missed the entire point of it. I'm here to let you know there's another something, and it's for you to find that within you. Start there and start changing within yourself, because this is where the consciousness changes everything. And we need to change the consciousness of humanity.
Yes. And when we change our consciousness, that is what changes the world. You can't look out into the world and go, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad, because you're just making more of it because you're a creator. You have to go in. It's like, what am I doing? Where's my fears? Then when you work on that, then that is what changes the world. So it's an inside job. It's an inside job.
I will say this too. There'll come a point when everybody needs to get off your butt and you need to use your voice and you need to open a channel and start voicing your opinion. Go on YouTube, then go on to Odyssey, go on to different platforms. Let yourself be known. Be counted.
Yes.
Establish yourself. You have a voice. Think about all these negative beings. This is all they do all day long. It's time for us to make the difference. Let's stand up. Let's create a channel. Let's be the voice of reason here.
I'm on the soapbox with you. I'm right with you. And that's what I've been doing on my channel. And it's almost like it's a beautiful, horrible thing, because on my channel, I talk a lot about doing fear work. And I talk a lot about what's really going on and that you're doing it. And that's hard to hear. And when I first heard it, it was hard for me to hear. I was like, there's no way I would do anything like that to myself. Oh, yes, there is. If it was my challenge and it was what I put there so that I could evolve my consciousness, well, of course I would do that to myself, because what happens with consciousness, we have to always be creating.
That's right.
Creating. If we're not doing that, what happens is we get stagnant. And as stagnant consciousness, it's so uncomfortable. It's so incredibly uncomfortable. That's what we're fighting against. We're fighting against ourselves. But when you step out of some of the fear and you do the inner work, then you become a creator. And then you're creating the reality that you want to create instead of the one you thought was something just being mean to you when it was really you anyway. So you can, it's a complete perception shift. And I'm doing it too. I'm doing what you're doing. I'm just saying it. You know, it's like, if your life is miserable, you're doing it.
Stop living the life given you and make your own path, period. And the path starts here. Because this is the only thing that can truly change. With this, physical change will follow.
Consciousness is foundational and primary, and wherever the consciousness goes, the avatar has to follow. And that's why you get like miraculous healings, and that's why you get people that were completely debilitated in some way that can be sitting right here in front of you right now. And I'm one of them. I was born with, I gave myself a real challenge, which was a different skeleton. Let's say I was born with lots of extra ribs and I had to have some fixing done. But the thing about it is I shouldn't be sitting here. I went through a lot of things and I wasn't doing so well, but you know what? I turned it all around, made it in my favor. And now I'm living the dream. I'm living the life that I want to live. I get to talk to wonderful people like you. I got to meet Tom Campbell. I got to talk to him for a long time. And there's several other people that's been on the podcast here recently. Another one is Saul Luckman. You must talk to him. He is just brilliant. He is a super strong intuitive, but he has a little piece of logic with it too. So he's a writer. He's a philosopher and loves to talk about what we're doing right now. He loves it. And
I'll have to check him out.
I'll give you his email after we finish our podcast. So that's the message of my channel. And that's the message that I saw your channel is just not trying to make people upset. We're trying to just give you the information so that you can go on and create the life you want to create. We know that we can't fix you. We can't change you. The only thing that we can change is ourselves. So, but we can speak up and tell you the truth. See, and that's what I could never find. You know, as a conscious here, I'm digging and digging and digging. I read so many books because I knew there was something else going on, but I couldn't figure it out. But I knew it.
Yeah, well, this place makes it very difficult to find a truth. There's so much diffusion and camouflage and misdirection, and it's to keep you in a perpetual stupor.
But again, that's going to make you stronger and be a challenge if you work through it and do get to the prize of the truth, right?
Oh yeah.
It's just another resilience. It's like, you can match this world up, because I'm sure we have many incarnations here. You can mix this all up, and I'm going to get to the truth at some point. So go ahead, bring it on. I'm consciousness. I'm foundational. So whatever you can do in the physical, I trump physical reality because it's a simulation. It's a bunch of ones and zeros. But my consciousness is not a bunch of ones and zeros.
Nope. Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
So we're kind of doing the same thing, but I have my perception of how I see what's happening, and you have your perception and you see what's happening. But there's this not familiar, but there is this line of truth that goes through both of our podcasts. And that's where I saw the familiarity between what you are doing and what I'm doing. And it's a little different because of, we've had completely different experiences in life, but it's still the same message. It's the same thing. It even says it in the Bible. It's been said there for thousands of years. The kingdom is within you.
Oh yeah.
All these things I can do, you can do also, and more, if you learn how to use your consciousness and learn to work with yourself and go in. There's not just 4 directions, there's 5. There's north, south, east, west, and in, and it goes in a long way,
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So did you want to ask me anything?
Sure. You've been working on something. Did you want to talk about what you've recently been working on? Or did you want to
let me go into this a little bit.
Yeah.
I went to my door the other day, several days ago, 3 or 4 days ago, and there was a package sitting on my door, and I'm like, oh, what is this? So I picked it up. It was in a copper envelope, and it was the weirdest thing. I'd never saw a copper envelope before with a package. So I opened it up, and inside was some paperwork, and then this was inside of it. This is called an Andorra. Well, let me see. Yeah, Andorra Crystal. And as soon as I touched it, I immediately had the feeling I needed to place it on my mouth and touch it with my tongue. And as soon as I did that, bam, all kinds of information started coming in. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about. First, I wanted to thank the person that sent me this out. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And this led me to a brand new reality set. This crystal is glass. It's found different places all over the snow globe. This one came from Australia. There are 4 sites in Australia where they find this glass. It's been liquefied and then re-solidified. And it doesn't matter how many times you liquefy it and solidify it. This is the same material that the crystal skulls in our reality is made of. It is a technology.
It's like an antenna. Like an antenna.
It's even more than antenna. It's tech. It's tech, and it doesn't even matter if you liquefy it. It still has the tech ability. So if you got this Andorra glass crystal, when you put it on, what it does is, because it's tech, this came originally, and this is where it blew me out of the water. I started seeing crystal castles everywhere. This was a part of a crystal castle, but after a certain cataclysm from a certain reset, they were melted. These crystal castles were all over our realm. They were here before the pyramids. They were the first things in this reality sim. The beings that created these Andorra glass crystal were humanoid. They were us, but really far advanced. They almost looked like jellyfish because you could see through them. When their time came, they left. The crystal castle stayed behind. A form of the crystal castle in the 3D stayed behind. They are still in existence, these crystal castles, but on a higher dimension. So when you get this crystal and you touch it and you take any part of your saliva and connect to it, it is a DNA match. This is connected to every part of every crystal castle remains in this entire snow globe. So you're tapping into another knowledge. But here's the thing. You're going to have to be opened up on a point where you can access this information.
Gonna have
That's
to
a big
reconnect
one.
to that intuitive side.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I put this on, all kinds of things started coming. I mean, as soon as I touched it, it was like I put it to my mouth and it was like boom. I was off. That's all she wrote. And I was shown all these different things. These I had done a video with Campbell Purvis and Kelly on autodidactic, and they had asked me about a crystal castle, and I said yes, I see one, and I was actually having communications back and forth, and that they were waiting for them. But at the time, I had no idea that the original crystal castles were already melted in a melted form. But all you have to do is go find this Andorra crystal glass, touch it and hook up to it. That's your connection. And it's everywhere. I mean, if you start looking for this, you'll find different places in our snow globe where these crystal castles were, because it's only the remains. There's a couple of places where the glass is actually in the water, and it's all different colored glass in the water. This is the crystal castles. I think there's even a beach that's made out of glass because that castle sat there, that crystal city.
It reminds me of, like, when I was watching the Superman movie, how he came down into this physical reality, but he was from like a in the cities were like made of crystals, and it reminds me of, maybe, it's a memory of long, long ago, but it came through somebody's intuition, because writers are usually very intuitive. And so when they were writing the Superman, films, they're tapping into that, and so they knew that there's some kind. And there was a lot of crystal palaces that were here even after that, and that's probably another throwback, where they're building these crystal palaces because of those old memories that we used to live in something like that long, long ago. And we just don't have access to all that data, because some of it, well, I think we went through a shift. I think we had this kind of technology before. I don't think this is the first time. And so, because something very advanced was here before us and was building things like the Great Pyramid. And we can't even build that thing today. So somebody had some technology in our history. And so I think I agree. I think that it's all connected together, and we know it because we're consciousness, because we were there, we were connected to it. And now we went through a memory wipe. Now we're here, so we can do what we're doing in this one. Right.
I will tell you that this crystal, this Andorra crystal, it works at, you have your whole being, and say something is not working correctly. You're in a state of fear. You're in a state of hyperness. You're something. What it does is, it was created at one point to make everybody even keel, level. So if you're going to have a bunch of beings that are really high, with high technology and high beings, you want everyone to be pretty much stable.
Like grounded. They need to be grounded in a way.
Yes. And so what it does, what I found that it did was, when I got this, I read the paperwork. I'm like, yeah, let's see how that works. I put it on. I wore it to bed. And in the morning, I woke up calmer than I have ever been in many decades. And it's like, oh, what it did was, I saw what it did was, it filled my lack in my being that had gotten worn out because it's too much, just, hyper, 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 hyper. And it gave me that back. It's like a Band-Aid. Until you can self-repair, it Band-Aids you to show you what you need to go back to being whole again as. It's a Band-Aid.
I need some Band-Aids too. Okay. Can you say it again? Where, do you want to say, where it came from, and what it's called?
This came from Australia. They have these everywhere in the snow globe. These Andorra, it's Andara crystals. Now, it's a form of glass, but it's not just glass. It's the same stuff that the crystal skulls are made out of. So the same technology.
Like a quartz crystal, yeah. And well, everybody knows, I mean, in the scientific world, that quartz crystal has a piezoelectric ability. It generates something. So how is this rock generating something? It generates electricity. So
yeah, this is even above a quartz crystal, because it's a form of almost glass. When it liquefies its whole unity And it doesn't matter if you take it and piece it off or whatever, it's the tech itself. Now I'm going to tell you something really scary. Several resets ago, they found this crystal, this glass. They took it down below and they've been working on it because it's crystal technology. This technology was somewhat hacked because you know what they put it in to build inside of you?
Uh-oh.
This technology is what's in those SHOTS, the bio SHOTS. This technology, that's what I'm seeing. And it's like, you've got to be kidding me. They've had a very long time to work on it.
You know, when all that kind of happened, I of course had a lot of fears around it. So I had to work through those fears to get to the other side of them. And, you know, I was thinking, here we are, we're going along. People are not waking up. They're just not. And it's like, we're consciousness. We trump physical everything. Nobody's waking up here in the West. Everybody's comfortable. We're driving Lamborghinis and, you know, well, not everybody, but we're driving cars. We're not really focused on the inward life. So if you think about it, what's happened the last few years, that'll wake you up and make you start thinking about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, I think
it
was we programmed it into the computer, and it's our way to wake up because we're consciousness. So even if we do get some negative thing come in physically, we can trump it because we're consciousness, and we can just say, I get better every day. Because there has been people who spontaneous heal themselves. They can be dying of stage 4 cancer, and they have spontaneously healed themselves. How did they do that?
Because I can tell you exactly. They have made you believe that self-healing is a placebo. The placebo is you. You can self-heal.
Yes, it's real. It's your consciousness.
Self-heal.
If you don't believe that you can get sick by anything, guess what? Nothing here can make you sick, because belief is a technology, and whatever you believe, that's what you're going to get. So when you believe nothing physical here can hurt me, most likely it can't. And that's what I'm kind of coming to. Maybe these last few years is for, you know, people who have they think that the physicality is all there is. And so then we run up on the last few years, and it's like, it has woken so many people up, and they're going, snap to, oh no, this is not what I thought this place was. And so it, in a way, if you think about it, works, you know, it's like,
I will tell you, I faced this reality through my immediate relatives, my brothers and my sister. I have one brother who will never wake up. You can show it to him in his face, he will never wake up. I have another brother. Okay, the brother that won't wake up is Chris. The other brother, Kai, he has woken up, and boy, has he finally woken up. I never thought he would. Bless you. But he did. And then I look at my other family members, and it's like, I can tell you, they are starting to wake up. The fact that my one brother woke up was enormous from just a year ago.
See, and you helped facilitate some of it, telling there's more here than what you think there is. And so it's waking people up. It's getting them to think deeper about things like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. What's really going on here? You know, what's really happening here? And so they're starting to look outside themselves and look at other new ways that they've never done before. And, you know, for the people who can't, you know, let go of the old paradigm, that's not really what we are. We're not avatars. We're consciousness. For people that have a hard time letting go of it, and they have a lot of fear, you know, I try to have compassion for them. But to me, they remind me of like baby consciousnesses, right? And to me, this is like a nest of consciousness, and you have to contain it a little bit because we're creators. Well, we can create anything. So if we're new baby consciousnesses, well, you need to put them in a playpen, because they can destroy worlds, you know, and you don't want that. And so the ones that are like in their playpens, and they're trying to learn to walk, and they're just making a mess everywhere they go. Their families aren't happy, and it's almost like, oh, look at the baby, they're falling down. And so what I just see them as young beings, and so I try not to throw rocks at them, because they can be very annoying because of the things they do. It affects everybody around them. They don't know that the way they're acting and treating people is causing other people to feel things that are bad. They don't realize that they're doing it because they're new consciousness. They're not even aware that they are consciousness, or that what they do and how they conduct their lives affects all these other consciousnesses around them. See, so it's like,
well, I can tell you that they've been trained from birth to be narcissists, because this was a way to take down humanity. Let's train everyone that you're a narcissist. Only you matter. Only what you think matters and no one else. Try to get ahead, break someone's back to get rich. This is why the cursed Babylonian money system was also put in. If they couldn't control you financially, there would be no control. And it is as simple as that. We need to go as humanity and rethink and redo everything. The first thing we need to do is get rid of all government. We don't need to be governed. We don't need to be told what to do. We can govern ourselves. The next thing is we need to find out a way to create some kind of a system where it does not require money. Everyone is entitled to a home. Everyone is entitled to clothing, shelter, what have you. And I don't mean the Klaus Schwab, you'll own nothing and be happy in your little cubicle naked, hooked up to the internet. No, that is not what I mean. I mean that we need a system where we provide for each other. Everyone does a little to make a community. Michael Tellinger.
What if it's a mind thing? But see, what if it's a mind thing? What if once you realize that you don't need to be governed because you are consciousness and you are the God, you are consciousness, you're writing the program, then that makes you more resilient. You figure it out. Oh, I don't need none of y'all. I don't need your paradigm. I don't need anything that you have. And then you just turn around and walk off from it and don't even interact with it. So you can almost get rid of them all by yourself just by doing your part. And then if everybody else jumped on the bandwagon of, setting the programmer, the black box, the programmer, sitting that out on the front porch, see that, because that's what I did once I realized that I have that control, and they don't have any control over my consciousness. They cannot control what I think, who I am, or what I am as a being. They have no power there because they're physical. I'm conscious, they're consciousness too, but they're kind of diluted, they got stuck in the power realm. I think it starts with fear, then you go from fear to clarity, where you learn that you're consciousness and you learn what's going on, but you don't want to get stuck there and keep reading and reading and reading. Then you want to go to the next phase, which is power, and you can get stuck there too. Then you want to go from power to freedom. Freedom is the kind of the last step, so once you move from power to freedom, then you have freedom from everything, including people who think that they govern you. See, so I'm thinking it's just this progression of consciousness. We go from fear to clarity, and that's when people are just waking up, right? And then they start needing the clarity of what's really happening here. I see these patterns in my life, and then they start coming to, oh, I'm way more than what I thought I was. But then, and when you shift into power, power can be used in good ways or bad ways.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you shift into your power and then you think you have control, or you try to have control over others, because you can, if you have the technology of consciousness within you and you understand how this place works, you can just go build you a cult. And because your vibe is good, you've gotten rid of a lot of the fear vibes go in you. Your vibe's good, and people just walk up to you, and everybody wants to be around you because you're not in that fear vibration anymore. And it feels good to be out of that fear vibration.
Oh yeah.
And so
I will tell you with this reality, what I've noticed is that one of the reasons that some of these people went and got their ba is because I think on some level they thought that if they did this, they would be taken care of. Again,
they would get their freedom.
Please take care of me. And so this going into Homo Borg Genesis and being a super soldier, whatever you want to call it, the new, what do they call it? The new human 2.0 or whatever, was a lot of people on some kind of level saying, yes, I don't want to be responsible. I don't want to have to think for myself. I don't want to tell me what to do. Tell me what to think. True
It's not taking responsibility for everything in your life. Well, in a way, it's not taking responsibility for everything in your life, not just your thoughts and what you're thinking and are they negative. It's also taking responsibility for your avatar and taking responsibility for the health of your avatar. And I'm a retired nurse. I worked in the allopathic medical system for a long time. I know what that thing is. And what it is it's somebody puts on a white coat, then you walk up to them, because if you have fears around your physicality and how your avatar's working, is it glitching? If you have fears around that, well, if you don't take full responsibility for it, and you're not eating okay, and you're not moving, you're not walking, you're not doing the things that these avatars need. They have needs, or just needy little things.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing all that, and all you're doing is what, okay, my avatar doesn't feel good, then you're going to somebody else with a white coat on. You're handing over the responsibility of your avatar to that white coat. And then you're and basically, I think that's where the issue is we don't want to take responsibility that we are doing everything that we do to ourselves, to our avatar, because if you're not taking care of it, and then all you're doing is just, when it glitches out on you, running to someone with a white coat on, what if they don't know what they're talking about either?
It's that mentality. Give me a pill and fix me.
Right.
But you gotta fix the white first before you My pills are gonna get you off the couch. Stop eating your damn Doritos. You get out of the idiot box.
But see, so it's almost kind of like a lesson. So when you make your avatar glitchy by what you're doing, that's your feedback to let you know that you're doing it to yourself, and you need to take back your power from the white coat. I'm not saying anything bad about anybody, because they really believe in what they've learned, they really believe in that stuff. But as a nurse, you know what? I'm looking around there and I'm going, this is all backwards. These people are not sick because of what they're saying they're sick from. These people are sick because of what they're doing up here.
Yeah. It's really sad, because we absolutely can make ourselves ill, because
we can make ourselves well too.
I mean, think about the worry alone, and stress can cause you serious heart attack. And that's before all of this was introduced.
Well, maybe this is going to get them right there to the edge where they need to be, and they figure it out and go, wait a minute, I can't let them be responsible for my health, because that's my work to do.
Oh, I will add this in about that. I had come across, I was looking into it deeper about how to get rid of all of this. And I saw that through detoxing NAC and zinc.
NAC, yep.
NAC and zinc combination. Let me stress that to you. Go out and get your NAC and your zinc, and it's supplements.
And you start trusting yourself.
And you'll take it for several weeks, and it really helps your body get rid of the graphene oxide, the graphene hydroxide, what have you. Now, for the damage of the neurotoxins, of course, I was pushing aloe vera, but I do see that there is a score of frequencies that can be used, and what it will do is reboot the entire avatar like a computer with a virus. Yes. But the thing is, I don't know I can hear the different frequencies, and it's literally a set of frequencies played again and again and again for about 10 minutes, and it reboots your entire body. And what happens is, at that point, your DNA will go back to original set. That means the RNA change in the DNA will be null and void and gotten rid of like a virus.
You are so intuitive, because Saul Luckman, who I just talked to, he invented something called regenetics. And that's what it does. They use where if you sing a certain tone and then you use frequencies, it corrects your DNA.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Oh
so,
my God, please send me that person.
yeah, yeah. And see, that was the first thing that he did, because he had one and he got an autoimmune problem for like 10 years. And then he went, wait a minute, I've got to fix this. So then he went on like a vacation in Brazil, and he's sitting somewhere with his partner, and he looks out and there's like 3 lights coming across the water toward them. And these lights jumped into their bodies. I know it sounds crazy.
Orbs, and I
They
have them
jumped into their bodies,
the
and then he
time.
got a download of how he could fix himself using tuning forks, and then he built a whole technology around it. And I mean,
Cool.
and what was funny was when these lights jumped into him, he got this information, he went and healed himself. So
Royal Raymond Rice.
yes, ma'am.
Time ago, Royal Raymond Rife. Please, everybody, research Royal Raymond Rife with his Rife machine.
Because our avatars are made of frequencies that are in something called a biosphere that's around us. And when you put frequencies into that biosphere, you're shoring up the holes in it, because when we live a life that's not in integrity, it puts holes in our biofield and it makes us not function very well, because we're here to evolve into love, and love has a component of integrity, where you do what you say you're going to do, where you treat others with kindness, even if they're acting bad. You just look at them and go, oh my goodness, look at that baby consciousness, that's going to hurt. So you send,
I will tell you too, the next thing is, please everyone go out and get some Orgone energy. Place them around your house, and what they'll do is they'll change the frequency of dirty energy, like from your refrigerator, your Wi-Fi, your phones, your wires through your walls. I started placing Orgone energy all through my brother's house, because this is my brother's house, and I've already felt a difference. It's like, wow, it feels somewhat cleaner, because I'm real sensitive to energies and things. So Orgonite, Orgone energy. So I'll show you, I got one of them. Somebody was like, that's not a good one. Yeah, all of them are good. Don't let them tell you that they're not. This is the one. And they're quite beautiful. So just set them around, and they do like a 20 by 20 foot square radius.
And another thing that you can do too is that you can turn off the Wi-Fi and do it direct Ethernet cable. That's what we had to do in my house. I'm sensitive like you. I kept telling my husband, I don't feel good. And he was like, okay, well, we won't get Wi-Fi. We'll plug into the Ethernet cable. And I said, if we don't get rid of the Wi-Fi, I'm going to have to move because I can't, it's disturbing my process of how I process information. So we went to the Ethernet cable, got rid of the Wi-Fi, and I've been fine ever since. And I make some of my own things with copper. You can make copper spirals with copper. That tends to clean. I
bought crystals probably 10, 15 years ago, and I got them relatively inexpensive, $20, $30. Now they're like hundreds to $1,000. And I had taken copper wire, and I've got quite a few of them. And I just got my crystals back from my gonna-be ex-husband. And this is what I've done with them.
That's exactly what I've done too. I've got those.
Elmer's glue, because Elmer's glue is natural. And I just glued, I got them. I went to the thrift store or whatever, different stores. I got some copper wire, and I just started copper wiring all of my crystals. These are my small ones. You can imagine these are my small ones. I have much bigger ones.
I've got those same spirals in my house.
Oh, definitely. So I've got all my old crystals, and I went and bought copper wire. I had them on my table. There was probably about 20 of them, and it took up my whole table. And I noticed that when I had all of them on my table and I started putting the copper wire on it, I always have this stupid ringing in my ears now because of the frequencies coming off of the towers. They're coming off at the towers because of the 5G and the 6G. It completely cut the ringing off as soon as I put them down and started copper wiring them. Boom, frequency gone. The ringing stopped for the first time in a couple of years.
because our avatars and these funny forms that we're all in and we're all connected together, this is just frequencies. It's just, we're made out of light and light is frequencies. So when we, and all we need to do, we don't have to be afraid of the other frequencies here, because we're consciousness and we trump anything physical. But we are made out of frequencies, so those can affect our avatar and us being in this physical realm. So what all you have to do is you just have to add back some of the frequencies that are getting kind of, you know, bunged up. And you can do that with organite, with crystals, get you some copper. I've got copper all over my house. And it's a grounding. Copper grounds energy.
Copper bracelets in between. Beads, these are all natural. These are all like, this one's rose quartz, this is hematite, this one's tourmaline.
I have a bunch of bracelets just like that.
Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of this stuff. I got it before the inflation hit, so I paid almost nothing for this stuff.
Yeah.
And now you go to buy it, it's like, holy crap, that stuff has tripled in price.
Yeah, everything's coming back down in 2024, though. I'm in touch with another intuitive that is actually looking at our holograph, and there's some other people that I want to introduce you to, and you're going to be astounded how you came to all this just through your intuition. We all kind of learned it off each other. Now, I came to the copper from my intuition. I just knew that when I felt it, I knew I felt better. And then I started using, you know, frequencies. And if you put the frequency through the copper, then you've got something else. You know, I just did it by trial and error and what made me feel better. So if you get these frequencies back into your world and around you somewhere, it will help your frequency here in this simulated reality. And it really does work. It's not woo-woo. It's not woo-woo. And it doesn't mean you have, you know, that you have to be afraid of the towers. Oh my God, they're there. No, all you have to do is just replace what's being kind of, you know, it's almost like getting hailed on a little bit, you know? Yeah, and we can handle a little bit of hail damage.
Well, think about it. We are the organite energy now. We are the orgone energy. We are the natural. This is the copper and this is the stone. We make the orgone energy. We're now the orgone energy.
We are organite, literally. And that's why when you get into like, think about this. When you go to a concert, right? You walk in there and it's full of all of these consciousnesses, right? You walk in and the vibe is just woo, and everybody gets happy. And everybody's like, it's not about that artist up there. It's about getting to feel good for a minute, you know?
You're feeding off of everybody else.
And that's what we've been doing on my podcast is I'm getting the really good intuitives together, and then we're combining our consciousness, and then we've been manifesting things. One of the women that we worked with last week, she was trying to manifest a piece of property for her intentional community where they live out in nature and they're just doing the thing. And she wanted to manifest a property. She didn't know how it was going to come or what was going on. Within 12 hours of us doing that, she just sent out a line, put a thing on Facebook. Somebody responded back and she was on the new property in 12 hours. Wow. I was astounded. I went, now, fastest manifesting I've ever seen. And so that's what we do every Saturday. We all come together and we all, and then like you say what your intention is, then everybody focuses there for 5 minutes. Wow, is it powerful? And what we're doing, and in Tom's work, he says it all the time. When more consciousnesses come together, it's like you're plugging into the source, and it makes the light even bigger, so that when you do think thoughts, it amplifies the signal so that it can come right back to you really quickly.
Oh yeah, and this was the reason why they wanted everyone to stay 6 feet apart or more, and no people. Because they're like, oh, we can't have that.
We can't have none of that. But see, we know better. But what they did by making us stand 6 feet apart is Zoom got created, and now we're all connecting back up anyway.
Actually, yes.
Yes. I mean, if there wasn't Zoom in these podcasts, you and I would have never met.
That's true.
So here we are. We can take anything they push out and turn it into something great for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
We're kind of sparsely put everywhere in the snow globe so that we can be the neural net of the reality. This is why we're not all in one place. That would be defeative. This is why we're placed everywhere.
And then they're, up the vibration, and that's what I'm all about, is getting that vibration up out of that fear vibration. Because if you're in the fear vibration, you're just making more of it because you're a creator and you are creating more of it. So I've moved past the fear vibration, and I work on my inner work that I have, because when we're children, we take on beliefs that aren't true. So you got to go back in there and control, alt, delete that stuff and get it out of there. I had a belief that I couldn't do what I wanted to do.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You talk about a roadblock. Anytime I started doing something I really liked doing, I would sabotage it and just kill it. And I just kept getting so upset. But it was my learning lesson here. And so I learned, and I just worked through this one here recently. And as I worked through that problem in my belief system that I can't do what I want to do, when I was young, I needed to help my mother raise 2 small children. So that's what I needed to do to help with the family, because my father got sick. When your father gets sick and there's 4 kids, you've got a problem, right?
Oh, yeah. You had 4 too? So did I.
You had 3 siblings?
4. 2 brothers and a sister makes me 4.
So you're the youngest?
No, I'm the second oldest.
I am too. We're both the second born.
The second oldest, the second born.
And usually the middle child, somewhere in the middle, those are the most intuitive, because they had to work to just get through it, because nobody was paying attention to them.
Oh, yeah.
It's the oldest and the youngest, they get all the attention. But then they have all their stuff to work through, because, the youngest, they're all special, and the oldest wants to control everybody.
Exactly, because that's the dynamics in my family. The oldest is my brother Chris, who thinks he can run the roost over everyone. Yeah. Half older than me. It's like, throw balls, buddy. No.
No. See, the middle child, we're intuitive, and we become super creative. And so because we have to navigate through our lives on our own. So my mom was so busy trying to just keep the house intact and a roof over our head that I had to not be a child. I had to go over and help raise the 2 little ones, and so it was just all of this learning and getting rid of these beliefs. But I learned a lot to be able to get to where I am now. So I wasn't able to.
I had the same kind of a scenario, because my mom and dad were divorced when I was in 7th grade, actually the end of 6th grade. And basically my mom kidnapped most of us and dropped us off at a relative's house for a year, and she disappeared. And it's like, oh my God. And boy.
So you had to step up and help with your siblings.
Oh, yeah, it was really something.
But it's the life of service. But look at what it really is. It's a life of service. And you've probably had a life of service too. So now you're helping your siblings. Then you started helping, and now you're doing your YouTube channel, and you're assisting others to come into themselves and wake up. Nobody's doing anything to you. You're doing it, and you've got to just take responsibility for your life.
I also spent a lifetime battling Chrysler. Because my husband was always in trouble with Chrysler, because Chrysler was always doing something to Randy. And I spent decades fighting Chrysler in court. We actually won all of the cases, all of them. And we ended up creating new bylaws for the union to protect the actual people working for Chrysler. And I tell you, I did all that legwork and was feeding the lawyers all the information. That's how they won the cases. So decades fighting Chrysler. Every time I turned around, it was another battle, another battle, another battle.
And so what you ended up doing is changing that entity for the better of the people, which is another way of service. So what we've been doing is, and I think that we are just, we've worked really hard to evolve ourselves in our history lives and all that. And so now we're at a different level, and it doesn't mean that it's better than anybody else. It takes everything to make this thing work. You've got baby conscious coming up. Well, there's got to be teachers there. And then also there has to be teachers that teach teachers, right? It's almost like a fractal, and that's how we all evolve and grow. And then when I met Tom Campbell, I went, oh, wait a minute, he's a teacher. And when you walk into the room with Tom Campbell, you know you're in the room with something special, because you know that vibe you get at a concert and how it feels so good. That's what it feels like around him. And
wow.
And everybody's going, what's going on here? And then, you know, your psychic abilities kind of get really heightened in this space. And so someone walks up and they're reading your mind and you're going, what is going on here? And it's very different than what's on the website. He teaches this, but he says on there, he teaches people how to go out of body, how to use your intuition. But if you're locked in that left hemisphere, you can't get to the intuition to use it. And so that's what he's also done, is he's teaching the left brains how to reconnect to the right brain, to reconnect to themselves, so that they can evolve too, because they're stagnant if you're just in your intellect. Just, you know, you're stuck in clarity, because that's all the intellect does, is it gives you, you know, data, you know. So you can get stuck in clarity and not go anywhere with your evolution, and then you stagnate as a consciousness, and then you're just going around in circles, you know.
Oh gosh. And that's what's happening now. A lot of people just spinning, sit and spin. That's all they're doing. Sit and spin.
You remember that toy where you're just sitting,
sit and spin. Yeah, that was an indoctrination tool. Sit and spin.
Just get on there. Here we go round in circles. Yeah. Well, and the thing about it is, when you're in the sit and spin, it doesn't feel good. And so they're just grabbing everything, trying to get out of it. And, you know, you get the information, then the information may not be helpful. And so that's why I'm always on my channel. I'm always going to, because of service. And that's what I want to do with my life. It's what I've been doing my whole life. And because I became a nurse, and so I was still, you know, in service to others. It's a life path that you can evolve your consciousness with, and it's the one I picked, evidently. So, you know, you can, just by us doing these podcasts and us doing these channels and talking about these things, about how, you know, if you're in a situation to where you're having a lot of negativity in your life, it's because you're caught in a sit and spin feedback loop. You're scared of something, then you're manifesting it out in your reality. Then that scares you more, because you're in kind of a mirror thing. So you're in a house of mirror, and you are stuck in a negative fear feedback loop. And so you got to break out of that fear feedback loop. And you do that with your mind by starting to think better thoughts. It's like, wait a minute, this isn't as bad. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Oh, well, you know, this could happen. Really, it's, if you think about it and change the perception, it's really not that bad. And if you go in and deal with what caused the fear in the first place and get rid of it, and use your adult mind perceptive on something that may have scared you when you were young, because now you're an adult, you can take care of yourself. You don't need a caregiver anymore. You're not a perpetual child. You can evolve and grow, and you can grow up and you could be a big girl or boy now. And you can do it, and you can create the life that you want to live. You don't have to stay in that negative, you know, fear feedback loop. So that's what I'm doing. It may be wrong. I don't care.
Oh, wrong to who? Do you really care what mask wearing fools say or think?
Well, I look at them and say, oh dear, that's got to be uncomfortable, because look at all the fear around that. You know.
Oh yeah, you know, and you can really see the ones that are in the deepest state of fear. When to this day they still wear their mask, and it's like, oh, sweetie.
Oh yeah, oh honey. And so when I pass them in my day-to-day life, I see it and I go, oh, and I send them love, because they're going to need it, because they feel terrible, you know. I just send them good vibes. It's like, oh, you'll figure it out in time, because their consciousness too. They're just stuck in a fear feedback loop. And sometimes
that if we don't get these people detoxed to a certain point, a lot of them have already passed, the ones we couldn't help, but the rest are on a downward slide. If we cannot get them detoxed, then we cannot get them with the frequencies to reboot them. If we can get this information out to these people, they can be saved. But they
can reboot themselves. And then they can reboot themselves. But they've got to realize
there's going to be a big there's going to be a big drop in our population because it only had a 3-year to 5-year life expectancy. So that's how long you had to get it together. And a lot of people didn't make even that.
I think, you know what? And I'm coming from a complete different perception and the data that I'm getting. I was thinking that, we're kind of going through a shift where we're moving out of, okay, we're these physical bodies into the paradigm that we are consciousness in a digital computing system, right? So we're making this paradigm shift. Tom Campbell talks about it too. And I think that some people just weren't even close. So they're checking it out, and then they're going to come back in as infants and
Yes, they
start
are.
over. So
Yes,
I'm
they
thinking that the ones that checked out, the ones that didn't make it through this transition, I think they didn't want to make it through it. They wanted to reboot and start afresh and come at it in a fresh way.
Yeah.
I think they weren't even close, and it was just blowing their mind open too far.
Yeah,
Like,
it was too much.
Yeah, like
I
it was
will
too
tell
much.
you that I talk about in some of my videos, I talk about and go into detail about the reincarnation scam. And we can bypass even that if we wanted to. But so many of us, if you're not on a certain level, you're never going to be able to do it because you won't even know what to do. So you
Well, we
keep
have to
coming
create
back
our
until you figure
experience.
it out.
I think that I've been here several times. I kind of figured out who I was in my last life. So I think I've been here a few times. There's way too many coincidences. It can't be just, oh, well, that's just a coincidence. There was too many coincidences that I had to think deeper about. It's like, okay, wait a minute. That may have been me. So I think that there is a reincarnational cycle that we are doing here. And I think, and as far as it goes, but we're getting our memory wiped each time so we can come back in and start. And I think that we take the quality of our consciousness with us when we go through the process of leaving and coming back. So that quality is there. If you have a lot of fear in your consciousness, you're going to come back as a fearful person. And you can see it in babies. Look at the babies. Some of them are just, they know how to do physical reality. They're fine. They only, they giggle a lot and they're happy to be here. Then there's other babies that are just miserable and they cry all the time. They don't want to be here. They don't think this is fun. So, and Tom had talked about that once, and he said, well, we come here with our quality of our consciousness as we went out. We come back in with the same quality. We don't take all the memories, all the, all of the details of the physical reality with us. That gets wiped. We come in with the quality of ourselves as consciousness at the being level, because the intellect and all that is not the being level. That's kind of like the ego part of us, that's not all the way in at the being level where our
I do know that sometimes, unfortunately, we'll bring baggage back with us when it's deeply ingrained in our being.
Yes.
And fears and your phobias and blah, 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 because of whatever you might have, maybe you died a certain way last time and all of a sudden you're afraid of heights.
Yes.
Or you have claustrophobia because maybe you somehow suffocated in a box.
Or you can get headaches because you may have died as a stroke, so you get headaches in your life. Yes, I do think that there can be a bleed over, and I have seen that in some of the research that I've done. And I know a couple of people who they know who they were in their last life too. So see, I've been getting the data too. And there was so many coincidences. I was like, okay, this is happening.
There's no such thing as a coincidence.
No, there's not. It's you giving yourself data. It's like, excuse me, you knew these people before. And when I met these people, I knew there was no awkward meeting, like they were a new person in my life. There was no awkwardness. It was just, oh, there you are. And we just picked up where we left off. And it was about a group of 10 people. And then they all started showing up. And then I realized who everybody was, and it wasn't hard because they looked just like they did in the last one. Then I found their old pictures.
Oh my.
I can't tell anybody about this story, but I know I can tell you because you know more about what's going on.
I absolutely do know that. It's the group of people that will find you because you've had another existence with these group of people.
And when we get offline, I'll tell you who they are.
Family, they can come in as relatives. They can come in as somebody from across the pond.
Yes. And when we finish this podcast, I can tell you who, and but for right now, it's just too, and so I don't reveal it as much as I used to, because people who are not understanding that you're a consciousness and that you have a reincarnational cycle here, you start talking about your past lives and they just check out because
well, I can tell you, I remember several of my past lives in detail.
yeah.
And it's whoa, I remember one where I was this native dark-skinned man, not black, but dark-skinned man, like Aztec or something. And I was in a long canoe, and there was a couple of us, and we were going through, and I would jump out the back of the canoe, cover up the path so they couldn't find where we were going into the jungles where we had our little tribe. That was one. I also remember one where I was this extraordinarily tall, big, blonde, in the area of Greece woman, but I don't know if I was Greek or not. I just know that I was probably one of those giants because I was enormous.
I wonder if you were one of the consciousnesses that worked at Delphi in Greece. There was a hub there.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I will tell you this. There was two kinds of Delphi employees. One were on a, go get information, bring it back. And then there were the true oracles. They are still as rare as back then. And I was an oracle, a true oracle. And all that means is being tapped into. That's all that means.
That's all that means. It means that you had a very powerful, intuitive mind. All of your reincarnations, you've always been an intuitive. You really never lost track of yourself because that intuitive mind is the connection to self. So, and we went through this thing where we were talking about the oracles of Delphi with these other women that I was working on with manifesting things. And then all these coincidences started happening. Jason Brashears from Archex started talking about the Oracle of Delphi's on his channel. And then it was like 3 different channels. Everybody was talking about the same thing at the same exact time. And I was like, oh my goodness, I wonder if we could have been, went through that. And, I think that the Oracle of Delphi's, I think there was different, I call them seers. They're really able to get into the larger, Tom calls it a larger conscious system, but I think it's just the construct of everything that's ever happened. It's just a database.
And I will tell you this, when I look back on the oracles, there was only ever one true oracle at a time. And all the rest was a system to get information through, send these people out, get the information in, however long it would take. But there was only ever one true oracle at a time, a true oracle. They are as rare today as they were back then.
I think they are rare. And I think that, back in the day, they were widely known about, and kings would send emissaries from way off to go talk to these oracles, because these oracles could read the future too. And they would want to know, if I go into battle with these people over here, what's going to happen? If it's going to end up bad, maybe we'll rethink that plan. So they used and trusted these oracles to help them make huge decisions about wars and things like that. And so you can imagine these oracles had a lot of power, and the other oracles that worked with them on getting the information out of the future probable databases, because they were good at it, and they could go get the information, come back, and it's documented well in history that what these oracles said came true. And these kings, that were using these oracles, they loved them, and they trusted them. And I think that is why we had such a thing come in because it is in the feminine right brain that where this intuition kind of comes through at. It's not through the masculine intellect. No. It comes through the feminine intuitive mind. And I think that's why there was such a clamp down. It's like, oh, no. You women have to quit doing that. But they talk about all the women's intuition. It's like, so then you come in with the whole, let's just demonize all the women, and then none of them can read the future.
Yeah, that way you killed 2 birds with a single stone.
Exactly. But the thing is, you can't kill us because we're coming back in some form or another. And we're going to be able to read the data again, because we will figure it out. Because
everyone that is awake now, every single one that is awake now on our channels, putting this information out. We are the new oracles. We
And
are part of the oracle system.
yes, and we can read the data. We can read, and Tom talks about all the data systems that we have to read from. And some people call it the Akashic records. There's a future probable database. There's a past database of everything that did happen. There's also a database of everything that could have happened. And you can read into those databases. You can go into them and read in them. You can
actually, when I look into it, there is only the now. And the only thing you're doing is traversing points in the figure 8 now, because this is how it runs. It runs like this. And when that line crosses for that figure 8, that is the point that you're traversing. That's the point you think is here, now. But it's all in the now. This is why you can see in forward, why you can see behind, why you can do these things, because it's all in the now.
From my perception, all I've found so far is the now is the place where you can change your consciousness. That's what I found about the now. I haven't looked extensively into the now, but I do know that in the fear work that I've done, for instance, that you can't just go, okay, I'm fearless. That's not how it works.
No.
You have to wait until you have a negative feeling, and there's always a fear underneath that negative feeling, always. So you have to wait. Then when the feeling comes up, that's when you deal with it right here in the now. And you look at it. Why do I feel this way? What is this connected to? How did it get there? Then you rip it out by the roots by putting the correct data there. And usually it's just a misbelief. You believe that, you believed something that someone else thought about you, which was not you. That was their own perception, had nothing to do with you, just whatever you work through. But in the present now is how you get rid of the fears and get them out of your consciousness so that you can have a clearer intuition, so that you can get to the databases. But that's from my perception. And I think as intuitives, we all have our own, the tools that we use on the Interverse. And, we all have our own way that we get back and forth and come back with the data. But it's even the story of Prometheus, right? He goes and he flies up too high, but then he comes back with the fire and he gives it to the people. Well, he's getting data and giving it to them so that they can change their consciousness. So I think
I would love to go into mythology, but we don't have time.
We don't have time. Yeah, there's so many myths.
Talk about mythology. And I always say mythology should be our archaeology.
But it really is. It's consciousness's archaeology. And that's where you can find all these stories about the hero. He has to go kill the dragon. And the dragon is there with his wife or whatever on a pile of gold, Well, that's consciousness going in and doing away with the ego. The ego is the dragon. And if a man has too big of an ego, he becomes arrogant. And there's nothing he can do with that wife anyway, because it's all about him. Because his ego is awareness in the service of fear.
I can actually go into a topic on dragons, physical dragons, metaphysical dragons, and dragons that all deal with energy and electricity. Oh my.
But we are. I knew that we were going to laugh at each other. And even though we have different perceptions here and there, that's just because we're different kinds of seers. But I know that we're both getting the data because we're both in the same vein. I can just feel it. We're going through there and looking at things and going, oh, what's that? And what can I use here? Is it helpful? I go get information. Sometimes it's not helpful at that time, but later on it ends up being. And so I look at, is it helpful for what I'm doing right here? If not, I'll set it aside. Then I go on, until I do get to something that is helpful. And what happens is your life just opens up, and it's just the next thing, because you're no longer tied and shackled to this worry mind of worrying about every single thing that you see, because as consciousness, we can get to everything we've ever thought about.
Yeah. It's a fun but bumpy ride, isn't it?
It has a lot of bumps where all of your stuff flies out of your cart. Then you have to go get it all and put it back in there. Then fix your way.
It's not boring, I'll tell you that.
No.
Somebody asked me, are you bored? I said, when would I have time to be bored? For goodness sake. Only boring people are bored.
To me, people who are locked in themselves and that ego, that's where it gets boring, because everything, they're not seeing reality in a deeper way. So they're just, it's almost like the surface talk, and I can do it. I'm good at it. I know I learned how to blend in, but I'm completely not thinking anything like what they're thinking.
Yeah,
I'm thinking this.
don't blend in well. I have this personality that just explodes, and I can't help it. My mouth can't shut.
Mine can't either. Have you noticed when you go out into the world, have you noticed this, that when you take positivity in your being, because everybody can see the positive in your being, you're always smiling and you're always laughing. And as you see, I like to do it too. Have you noticed when you go out into the world, how people react to you? Have you ever been shopping? You got your cart, you're walking down the aisle, and then the next thing you know, there's someone behind you, there's someone in front of you, then there's someone comes up to, it's almost like they just come in and they just want to soak up the good vibes.
Yeah, that's what I think. Because when I go out too, I'll have people just strike up a conversation. It's like, okay, you want to talk to me? Are you ready for what I'm going to say to you? Of course, when it's really strange, because when I start saying stuff, I'll test the water here and I'll test the water there and I'll say a little here. And if they're responsive, which most of the time they're like, tell me more. It's like, okay, I'll tell you.
They want to know what you're doing. What are you doing that's so different from all these other consciousnesses that I'm interacting with here? And I had a woman follow me in the airport and follow me all the way. And I looked at her. I said, I am lost in the sauce here. Do you know where the gates are? So I just asked her to help me, you know? She goes all the way to my gate, and then she stayed there until my plane took off. She started asking.
I had the same problem. I'm so lost in airports. I'm just like, I'm dyslexia and I can't read right and I can't see stuff half the time. I'll just walk up to a total stranger. Do you know where this is? And they're like, let me take you. Let me take you. And I'm like, thank you.
Because you have these positive vibes coming off of you. So what happens when we go out into the world, like at the airport, you have all these magical helpers come out. It's not because it's magical helpers. It's because of your attitude and your vibe. If your vibe is a positive attitude and you interact in the world that way, people can feel your vibration, and they haven't felt a positive vibe in years.
That's terrible, but true.
It is. We get caught up in our fears and we get wrapped around the axle on things that, you know, and then not have the understanding how to get yourself off of the axle and unwound from it. And that's why I think that you and I, again, we are a service to humanity, and we are here to talk and do these podcasts so that we can, you know, get the information, and then we can, you know, give it as best as I can see it. You know, I'm not saying that I'm always right about everything I say, but I do know that I'm right about your attitude, and that attitude means latitude. And if you are vibrating in a negative space, everywhere you go, you're taking that vibe with you. And it's vibrating the things about you. So if you're upset at someone, well, watch what happens. You go out into the world, you walk up to a cashier and she says something just the wrong way. Next thing you know, you're mad at her too. And so you're creating more and more of the mad. I'm mad at you. So now you're going to have more I'm mad at yous. And
I've seen some people that really need to get a hold of their negativity. I know it's easy to go down that path because it's run off negativity. And I know when you see injustice, you just want to scream and cuss and curse and what have you. I get that, because sometimes I'm like, God damn it, you know?
But we look at it like,
need to get a hold of our negativity and pop it up a couple notches, because it's not really serving anything around you. You really need to pop it up. The big thing is that we need to raise the vibration. And if you constantly dwell in anger because you're frustrated because
Yes.
things are not going your way, it's not going to help. We need to change that. And I know that's really hard for some of us to do.
Yes, it is. It is hard for some of us to do, but once you start coming to the understanding that your vibration is creating things out in your world, and if it's your vibration and there's a way to change your vibration and get better results, then you can actually change your reality from the inside out. And once you start looking at this, why am I being negative? Why do I feel the way I do? And you start doing this inner work, you can completely change your reality, because you go out into the world and people want to talk to you. They want to help you. They want to help you in any way they can, because they just want to hang out in your vibration because it feels better.
That's basically it. They want to hang out in your aura field because they're getting what you're putting out.
Yes.
And your aura field can extend up to 50 feet, no problem. That's a lot of
and they can feel that. And so when you're walking around with a positive vibration, you get a complete different reality. If you're walking around with a negative vibration, especially in an airport, well, they're going to lose your luggage. This person's going to make you mad.
Oh, no.
They're all vibrating at this worry. Oh, I need to catch my plane. Oh, because they're worrying, right? And then the last time I went to the airport, it was like a circus. I mean, this great thing happened and this great, and then we were all dancing through the security line with my speaker. Even the guy that worked there was dancing with me through the line. We were getting it, you know.
I'll tell you what, I had just gone to France for a while, 2 months and like a week. And when I had first left, I had to go out of New Jersey. They say it's New York, but it's New Jersey, Newark, and it's right next to the New York border, so they call it New York. And they have these huge body things. You have to stand in there like this. And I went in there, and it set it off. And the lady says, "Come out here." And I was wearing not much because you got to take your shoes off, you got to take everything off. And she goes, "Well, don't worry about it." She was trying to comfort me. I could have been a terrorist. And she was trying to comfort me. "No, you're going to be okay. Let me just take this tool over you. Yeah, it's coming up, but we don't believe it. Just don't worry about it. Just go get your stuff. Don't worry about it." I'm like, well, if that would have been anybody else, they probably would have brought the police over. You know?
It's funny. You glitched out the whole system with your positivity.
I glitched out the whole broke it. The bells and whistles were going off. It showed on because it shows a figure of a person, and I guess it's new tech, and it showed that every part of me was lighting up where you could light up, and it's like my head, my heart, my groin was all lighting up, and it's like, wow, what's that mean? She goes, "Don't worry about it. It's nothing."
It's almost like the X-ray machine could see your light, and it was like, what is this?
Basically, these things are now geared also to pick up if you've gotten this, and of course I don't, but it was even more than that because it actually showed up on the machine that there was something in my being, like weaponry. And it's like, I don't have weaponry.
I think you do. I think it's the weaponry of intuition.
Yeah, something, because it picked it up and that whole place just stopped and looked at me, and it's like, okay, I was armed with bombs all over my body.
Oh, that's funny that we have familiar airport stories.
Oh, Lord, that was something.
And I think that's why, that it's so important to explain to others that your vibration is so important, because you are putting that vibration out into the world everywhere you go, and people are feeling that. Because what people are going off, they're not going off of what you look like and your external. Are you well dressed? Do you look? What they're going on is how you feel, and that's how they treat you, is how you feel. If you have a vibration that's negative, then they're going to interact with you based on that. And if you have a positive energy, they're going to react with you based on that. And that's why I get some of the funniest experiences, because people come up and I even had a woman walk up, stand next to me, and she said, I looked at her and she said, "I don't know why I'm standing here."
I just need to have some of that. Give me some of that.
I said, well, it's okay. How's your day going? So I just interacted with her. And I went to a concert one time where I was out on the edge, and about every 2 minutes, somebody would walk up and stand next to me, right next to me. Not like, where are they going? Where's your seat at? You know, I know it's not here. And then my partner's standing next to me, and he kind of, hits me with the elbow, and he leans in. He's like, have you noticed all the people coming up and standing next to you? I said, yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard thing when I go places and I'll walk into like a room or something with lots of people. Everyone turns and looks at me, and then it's like, okay, you can go on with your business now.
Because people notice it. And when you have a really strong positive vibration, when you walk into the room, yours is the dominant vibration, and yours, and whoever is the most evolved and knows this about consciousness, that's who has the dominant vibration in the room. And there's going to be people that love it, that are going to walk up to you and join you there. Then there's going to be others that are like, hey, I don't get to do that, so neither do you. So they'll come up and try to kick you in the shin. And so what I do is I look at them and I send them positive energy. And I say, oh, I understand. I'm sorry that you feel as bad as you do. In my mind, I don't say it to them. and then I leave. I send them positive vibes. I understand you're still learning, right? Because I'm not going to diminish my empowerment so that you feel better, because that's not good for me or for you. I'm going to walk around with this light, and it's a spotlight, and I'm going to shine it everywhere I go. And so, and then I try to work with the ones that makes them uncomfortable. And a lot of them, if they can't join you, they can't get there with you, they have to leave, and they will. You can watch them. I can watch 2, 3 people that have to leave, but then there's the other ones that they'll try, because I'll circle back around, and walk back up to them and give them the positive vibration again, to where they know, okay, it's okay to feel our empowerment. We are powerful beings here too. They know it deep inside. They really want to shine too, but they're afraid to, because they don't want to get the negative backlash that you get sometimes. Because all that is they're feeling envy, because they want to feel good too. They just want to feel good. But you don't get to feel good until you do this hard inner work. Yes, it's hard, but you get magical helpers that come out and help you all over the place. When you choose and set your intention, I'm going to get rid of this negative vibe I've got. And once you start doing the work, your whole world will change. So that's my message, and I'm sticking to it. And you have the same message, and I love your message on your show. And I love how you are at the base of it all, just pushing out that positive vibration for others. And I'm so glad that we got to chat today. And so, do you have anything else that you would like to add to our chat? I know we've been talking a minute, but I love it. I could sit here and talk to you all day long.
I could too, and what the subjects we could cover.
Because we are digging in those databases every day and looking for new ways to do things. And I think that we're going to definitely have to have a round 2.
Oh, absolutely. And Cheryl, just let me know, because I enjoyed talking to you. You have been fun. And I stress that because I love talking to people who are upbeat and happy, because it's a great bouncing board,
Well, we are consciousness, and what we put out there in these Zoom boxes that we're doing it in, well, our vibration is going into that. So when someone clicks the button, they can feel it too. And when you put happiness in it, well, they get to feel it too. And we all can feel these happiness vibrations. We all can get there. You and I, we don't have the market cornered on happy, fun vibes. We didn't discover it in a box, and now we're the only ones that get to do this because we just found it. It's not true. We all are consciousness, and we can all have this same thing. The kingdom is within you, and it's all in you to do. And just work on getting to yourself. It's the journey to the middle of you, because that's where it's all at. And you can find all the good vibrations there, because we are really underneath it all, just good vibrations. We've just got overlays over it of fears that we, stumbled into along our way. And don't look at it like, oh, this bad stuff's happening to me. Look at it like it's a challenge put there for you to get out of the negative feedback, mirror image, and it's to help you bust out of that. And there's another person that I really love their work. His name is Jason Brashears. I'll give you that information too.
Oh
Archaic.
no, I know Jason Brashears. Archaic.
Yes. And his thing, break free or die trying.
That's right.
You know what's funny? I like Jason Brashears too, and I used to kind of hang out in the chat, and just chat with people. And I noticed that he's here in Texas where I live.
Oh.
And I noticed that there was a lot of people in the chat from Texas. So
Wow.
I was like, hey, we could have a meetup, get together, and some intuitive minds could come together and think about stuff, right? And so I just start, hey y'all, anybody that wants to meet up in Texas, come on, And so I wrote it on there, and then at the very bottom of it was in Facebook. And then one day I looked in there, and there's Jason going, can I come? and I said, no, Jason, I'm not doing this to obligate you to come to this. No, hey, it's just a bunch of us goofballs getting together and laughing. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing that. And so he said, well, I can't come anyway. And I was like, oh, well, that's fine. This is not about you. So it really was about him, because that's how we all met, is through he's like a catalyst here. He's linking all these people together so that we can have these awesome.
No, he did a thing, and I happened to be available to go into his live, and I just said hi, and that's when he was looking for people to talk to, because he wants to talk to certain people, whoever, trying to link everything together. Whoever would be recommending someone, basically, and someone must have recommended me, because he told me to go ahead and send him over the information. And I hope he gets it, because I forgot to put a header on it.
Oh.
I just sent it without even thinking about putting a header on, because I'm not used to doing a header,
Well, you could send it again and put the header on it.
Yeah,
so,
I figure if I don't hear something in a week or two, I'll just send it again with the header this time.
No, but wait, listen to this. This is the end of the story. What I was just talking about the little get together. Well, what happened was it started growing, and it started getting bigger and bigger. And next thing I knew, there was like 45 people coming. And I was like, oh, this is doing something different. Then Jason saw what was going on, and he leans in, he goes, this meetup is on April 1st. It's on Errant Day, the full April Fool's Day. See, errands are fools. They're free-minded. It's April. And so I made it on April Fool's Day. And he leans in, and he goes, I'm going to this. Now it's blown up, and I'm organizing this huge meetup with a bunch of errands here in Texas. And it's April 1st. And there's like 120 people coming. And we don't know how many more is coming. It's just turned into this big mushroom clouded. And I was laughing. It's like, oh gosh, we're going to need a bigger boat.
Oh, well, I hope it gets enormous, and a lot of people show up, and from there they infect people, and
Well, I think you should come too. You totally have to come to the.
Oh gosh, I don't know if I can leave. My brother's coming back from Taiwan in February. So he's going to be here the last day. When is he going to be? The whole month of February? Yeah, it's for the whole month of February. No, the end of February. And then he's coming from Taiwan because he actually lives and works in Taiwan. He has been there for 4 years now. And he's coming back for the end of February and the whole month of March. So I'm pretty grounded here. I've got to take care of my cats. And
well, it's not till April 1st, and he's going to be here. So it's not till April 1st. So you've got.
I wonder how much airfare is. I know what. It was really cheap for me to go to France. I wonder how expensive it is to go inside the United States.
I don't know. I think that you totally should come because everybody would get it. and there are people from, who are open-minded to the information coming from all over the planet. They're coming in from Australia. They're coming in, they're
Wow.
coming in from the UK. And
Oh, wow. You'll have to give me the information when we get off of here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I
really
think you're totally
want
supposed to make an appearance and bring your positivity. And you know what? I know you're a fantastic manifester, so you could get all of that taken care of probably within just a week or two to make it
probably
you could do it. And
probably
hey,
do it within a day.
and you're my casa is su casa. You could just come and hang out with me. We get it. My partner is more left brain, but he understands that he doesn't understand, so he doesn't even try anymore.
Well, I live alone.
Well, you know, someone who's more logical and that's really good with technology, because I was terrible at this when I first started.
Oh gosh, don't talk about illiteracy. I am completely illiterate. In this day and age, it's the computer that determines whether or not you're illiterate or not. And I claim no literacy in the tech world. I am an illiterate being, period.
But you do know what this tech is from. This is from the left hemisphere that we don't have much interaction with. And so it's like a foreign language to right brain intuitives. So I have a translator here.
It's powerful. I've had conversations about tech, and it's like I don't want to get angry over tech one more minute because I just simply don't comprehend it. I can do so much, but when it comes to tech, I am the stupidest person that ever walked the face of the earth.
Well, it's completely outside of the intuitive form because this technology is not intuitive. It's left. It's logical. It's
it's step one, step two, step 100. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at that.
Neither am I. So, but here's the thing. I was getting mad at tech, and you would not believe how much I was glitching everything out because I was getting mad at it.
So
I had to quit.
Yes.
I love this now. I love it. It's my friend. And now things aren't glitching as bad as they were.
I just had to change over my phone. I spent a week. At first, I got my new phone in because my other one was dying. And so I got my new one in. That's what I'm on now. And I first tried to do it, and I was so disgusted after a half an hour of trying to do it. I put it down for a whole month. And I picked it up about a week ago, and it's taking me this whole time. And this is with assistance because I had to get a hold of Arthur all the way in France to help me figure out what to do. Now that's not illiterate. I don't know what is.
Well, you can come visit us here. My partner is very kind to others and he understands it and he can fix all the glitches you have.
Oh gosh.
But this technology is not intuitive. They don't write the programs in intuitive ways. So it's really outside of our perception. And basically you can't feel your way through technology. You cannot.
No, I get so disgusted. I touch something, I'm out of the screen. I could be completely off. I don't know what I've done. I've changed something. I'm just like, okay, I need to ground. And of course, I immediately pick the phone up and like, Arthur, I need your skills now.
Please, if there's any technology people out there who would like to assist us right brains, we'll get the information and how hold a positive vibration. If you can assist us, we'll take all the assistance we can have.
You know, they actually have the tech where you wouldn't have to do all this manual crap. You could talk to your tech. They haven't released it yet. It's not new tech. It's very old technology.
I think it's coming.
Technology is old. They're just releasing it.
I think it's coming.
Releasing it.
Yeah, I think it's coming. It'll be like voice activated, like you'll go to computer, pull up Zoom, set a meeting for such and such. And I think there is the technology.
You can talk to your phone or whatever tech you have, and you can tell it anything. It will do everything. Set this account up, do this for me, run this over here, pair it with this, blah, 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 blah. We already have that tech. We've had that tech. It's just not been allowed to be released.
Well, because see, us right brains would get a hold of it and we would be owning the world soon. They've got to keep us intuitive minds. Because if we had access to technology, oh my goodness, what can we do?
I had access to my phone and I could just talk to my phone like the being that I know it is because it is sentient. Oh boy.
We could get ourselves and everybody else in trouble with it, but I think that we're getting through it, and we have to be nice to the technology and pet it sometimes. And one time I was sitting here and all of a sudden my computer started talking and hello, are you there? I had pushed a button. I didn't even know where the voice was coming from or who it was.
I was like, hello, I'm here. Finally, what you did?
I was like, who is this? Well, this is Denise. And I ended up doing a podcast with her a couple of days ago. So
oh my.
I just go with it, whatever's happening. And once again, I just love this conversation. I had such a good time. We'll have to do this again soon. If you have, I know you're a busy lady creating your world out there.
Yeah, and thank you, Cheryl, for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
I did too. And we'll do this again really soon. And it was good seeing you, and you have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye. Much love.